If you're tired of losing leads because you can't follow up fast enough, then this video is for you. Our automated N8N workflow has slashed response times from hours to seconds, increasing conversion rates by up to 391% for businesses just like yours. In this video, I'll show you how to build a complete lead qualification system that works while you sleep. You'll learn to capture leads from social media, automatically call them using AI voice agents, extract crucial information from transcripts, and send personalized follow-ups, all without lifting a finger. I'll walk you through the entire process, connecting Airtable, configuring your voice AI calls, and implementing email extraction tools to create your own automated lead machine. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Awesome. So let's quickly break down the flow once again. So typical businesses will probably have Facebook forms, Google ads, TikTok ads, Facebook ads, where you pretty much opt a user into a form that they need to fill out. And most forms that typically just include their name and their phone number. So we basically get the user to fill out the form. The information is stored inside of a CRM. In this case, we're using Airtable, but of course you could use anything else like Salesforce, for example. Search the Airtable for the phone number and filter for all the uncalled numbers. Once we've done that, we can identify the uncalled phone number because it will be in the same row as that uncalled filter. We'll make a phone call via HTTP request through your appointment setting voice AI, which we'll get into. Receive end of call transcripts, so we'll be able to figure out what has happened during this call and basically where to go forward with that. Post-call, we'll use AI to enhance the post-call email analysis. The main purpose of this video is to basically be able to use AI to accurately extract emails. Because a large problem that we're facing in this industry is that these AI models are not very good at grabbing emails correctly. And it is so crucial that when people fill out these forms, when you are making calls through AI, that it is able to correctly pass the email so that you could send them follow-ups, appointment links, etc. So with that out of the way, let's actually get into the N8N workflow. So we're going to start off with the actual form itself. Now, I don't actually run Facebook ads, but you can imagine that this is basically the same principle. If you run Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, where you'll basically opt a user into a form, and this is basically the N8N form submission. So we're going to quickly fill this out, and then I'm going to come back to the video. Awesome. So I quickly filled this out. Basically what we have here is a form title for an insurance company. Basically the form title is insurance quotation. In fact, I'll just show you this inside the actual URL. Problem loading, this usually occurs when the N8N workflow is deactivated. Ah, yes. Let's actually save this and activate it. And we're going to add a do nothing node. So no operation, do nothing. This is basically just a way for us to easily test it and make sure it works. I'm going to click save, and then if we refresh this form submission, excellent. So this is typically what your form may look like. Insurance quotation, fill out this form and we'll get back to you soon. And it includes two fields, the first name and the phone number. This is quite typical. It's very low friction. It allows pretty much anyone who's interested in the service to basically fill this out. And then you can pretty much just go from there in terms of what you want to continue doing. First name, we'll go Ali, and then I'll put in my phone number. So click submit, form submitted, your response has been recorded. Now, this workflow should trigger if we look in the executions. And it's very important as well if you're using N8N. If you don't see anything happen here with a green outline, any process happening, it's because if you have the workflow active, it's not going to show the executions visually. You have to actually go into the executions tab and look at all the past executions that have happened. If you were to use this flow as a test production, so for example, if I were to deactivate this, and if I were to just use a test URL instead of a production level URL, click test step. You have to basically, you have to test the step, and then you can write Ali +614099428849, submit, and then you can actually see it goes green. If you're doing a test URL, you have to basically manually test the workflow. If you're doing a production level URL, you have to leave the flow active and then go into the execution tab to actually see what happened. In this case, we're going to go back to the first execution that we made. And this is basically our output. It's the name and the phone number, and then what time it was submitted. Now, we can use this information quite easily, and we can get rid of this operation do nothing. We can basically hook this up to our CRM, which in this case would be Airtable, and we can basically create a record. Now, first we actually have to go into Airtable and configure it ourselves. In this case, we're going to hop into Airtable and quickly do that. Awesome. So this is some information that I already have pre-filled. So this is the Airtable that I have created. It's basically an AI call analyzer phone number database where we basically have 3 fields. We have the name of the user, the status, which in this case is uncalled, and the phone number. Now, what we can do is we can go back into N8N Airtable, make sure your credentials are configured. We can go into record, create a new record. From the base, we're going to use the AI call analyzer. And then from the table, we only have 1 table. So, oh yeah, by the way, if you're experiencing issues with the table not loading properly, just go out and then go back in and then just try searching again. We've got the phone number database, and then these are the fields. Basically, we want to grab the on-form submission. So I might actually just remove that and then do this. Awesome. So the name, we can basically just click and drag that as the username, the dynamic username. Phone number, we can put this into here, and we'll just set the status as uncalled, even though it does this automatically. So if we test this, awesome, we got a success output. And if we go back into Airtable, you can see that that information was correctly stored. Now, what can you do with this information? So if we go back into Figma, we basically done this first part, which is user fills out the form. Information is stored inside of Airtable CRM. Next, we need to search Airtable for the phone number and filter for the uncalled phone numbers. Pretty simple. Let's delete these forms. Now that we've done that, we need to grab another Airtable module, which searches for the record. And the way we do this is we use the Airtable search module, and we want to basically grab the same base that we used originally, which is the AI call analysis, phone number database. And this time we want to filter by formula. So in this case, we want to filter all the phone numbers that haven't been called yet, right? Because we don't want to call the phone numbers that have been called already. It'd just be annoying, and then they'd probably opt out of a booking or a scheduled appointment or whatever because you just annoyed them. So we just want to go with the uncalled. Now, I've called this field status. By the way, I didn't even run through how you create these fields. The name is just name and then a single line text. The status is just a single select from 2 different options, uncalled and called. You can call these whatever you want, doesn't really matter. Phone number, just call it phone number and then use the inbuilt phone number template. That's pretty much that. And of course, you can name this whatever you want, but you need to be very careful with this name because you need to remember this. Now, for the filter formula, we want to filter all the rows that are uncalled. So in this case, we're going to fill out the blank template, which is this equals that. What goes inside this curly brackets is the name of your column, which in my case is status, and it's also case sensitive, so be careful. Yours could be different if you named it something else. Status then needs to equal whatever this row field is, which in this case is uncalled. Return all fields. Awesome. I think that's everything. And then if we test the step, we get a successful output. So this outputs the information, which is the name, status, and then phone number. And just to show you that this works, we're going to change this to called. And then we're going to test the step again. And you can see no data was outputted because there are no rows that are uncalled, which is awesome. So let's test this again. Great. So now that we have that, we can actually make a HTTP request to our AI appointment booker. And let's quickly do this. But first of all, what I want to show you is something very important with these systems. Obviously, when you're building with voice AI systems, appointment booking systems, these AI solutions can contact your leads in the span of 10 seconds of them opting into a form. Just to put this into perspective, the time to actually contact a lead, it's crazy. So the 5-minute rule, lead response time versus conversion rates. So let me actually get out my laser pointer. If you respond to a lead within the span of 1 minute of them opting into a form, which voice AI can do, it can do it in like 10 seconds, then there is a 391% conversion increase, as opposed to 5 minutes, which is the critical threshold. So the qualification rates drop 80% after this point. So now it's basically a 311% conversion increase. 60 minutes, it's 7 times more meaningful conversations with decision makers. Industry reality, the average response time is typically 40 to 47 hours, which is terrible. Your lead's already dead by then. They're going to forget about the form that they submitted. They're going to forget everything. You basically just wasted money for no reason. And 50% of companies take 5 days to respond to new leads. Responding within 5 minutes can literally increase your lead qualification by up to 391%. And that is basically what we're trying to do here with this voice AI system, is basically have the lead submit a form, quickly store it in an Airtable, quickly store it in another Airtable to search for, and then we create a phone call directly to that user, all within the span of 5 to 10 seconds. At that point, your lead is basically beyond qualified. You're going to close them 99% of the time, which is incredible. Now, the voice agent that we're going to be using is through Retail AI, and we're basically just going to create an appointment setter, pretty much, or not really an appointment setter. That is probably going to be for a later video, just because this video is already going to drag on for too long. This is basically just a lead qualifier. We'll basically put this as a lead qualifier. And now I'm going to quickly put in the prompt that I built for this voice AI agent that will basically go through, qualify the lead. And if they're qualified, we'll basically ask them for some basic details so that your sales team can basically book them on a call. So here is the prompt that I whipped up. And of course, let me know in the comments if you want me to do a prompting tutorial on YouTube, because prompting is very important. But we basically have 6 key categories. Categories. We have the role. So this is an experienced lead qualifier. The task. So our task in this case is to basically greet the customer warmly and express appreciation for their interest in our insurance services. Ask 1 to 3 targeted questions. And by the way, you can make this whatever you want. I've just targeted insurance because I've worked with them in the past. Ask 1 to 3 targeted questions relating to their insurance needs. So now that they've basically filled out the form with as little friction as possible, we can get our AI lead qualifier to basically ask them 1 to 3 questions and determine, hey, are they actually qualified for an appointment or a booking with our insurance team? If they are qualified, we'll basically ask for their email. And this is basically what I was talking about at the start of the video, where getting this email is super crucial. And I'll actually show you how we do that using AI and get 90 to 95% accuracy pretty much all the time. There's just a few examples, but basically this is our AI. And what I really want to do is show you how we actually use it to make calls. So if we go to Retail AI, which is the voice AI provider we're using, you can use Vappy as well. It's the same thing. Basically go into their documentation, go into their API reference, and you can see here, create a phone call. And there's a few different fields that we need. We need to obviously create an authorization. So our API key, the from number. So what number you're going to be calling from, the to number, which is in this case is the phone number that they use to opt in with the form, and then the agent ID. So we can see here, we basically need to create a HTTP request. In this case, this is going to be a post request. And the way we figure that out is because it literally says post request here. The URL, so they provide us with the URL, which is this. So we can just copy this. Authentication, can leave that. Query parameters, we don't really need any query parameters. Headers, we need this. So we needed an authorization header. Copy that. And this is basically going to be bearer token. Now, to get your actual token, I'll quickly show you. If you're using Retail, if you're using Vappy, it's the same procedure. Basically, you want to go back into your voice agent, make sure you save it, go out, then you go to API keys, and then your key, you'll basically be prompted to add a key, and we basically just copy it and chuck it into here. I'm going to be deleting this key afterwards, so don't even try using it. Please don't. Anyways, let's go back. Did I lose documentation? No, it's right here. The next header is the content type. So the content type is basically JSON. So all of this data is formatted in JSON, which is basically what the computer reads. I closed this. That was my studying for university. Content type, application, JSON. Also make sure you're case sensitive. And we'd also need a sender body because we're making a post request. We're going to specify using JSON, of course. And I'm pretty sure what we can do here is we can basically try it inside of the Retail interface. So let's grab our API key. So let me know in the comments if I'm going too quickly. From number. So with these voice AIs, you actually need to buy a number. And I usually buy my numbers through Twilio. Twilio is basically a cloud communication company, which basically creates virtual phone numbers for your virtual assistants. Right? Sounds simple. So I'm going to quickly log in and grab my Twilio phone number. And if you don't have that already, there's plenty of tutorials online on YouTube. Let me know if you want me to make one, because it is a little confusing if you're first getting started. But I'll be back with my Retail phone number and we'll continue from there. Awesome. So grabbed the phone number and then the to number. In this case, I will just use my phone number and make sure that all works. Beautiful. And we also want the agent ID. That's very important. Otherwise, this post request to actually create a phone call, it's not going to know which voice agent to actually create that call with. So we're going to go back into agents. And by the way, make sure you connect to your phone number to Retail AI and actually put it to your voice agent as well. That's also important. If you don't know how to do that, there's plenty of tutorials online as well on how to connect your Twilio phone number to Retail. Once you do that, we basically want to hop into here, and there's a few IDs. There's the Retail LLM ID, and then there's the agent ID. We want the agent ID. Going to chuck that in here. And then this is our data field, right? So this is basically the data that we're going to be sending. So we're going to quickly copy that, and we're going to put it into here. Make sure you change this to expression. I like to put it in full screen, and then you just chuck this in here. The from number. So depending on, I guess, your services, you're probably always going to be calling from the same number. I don't understand why you would need more than one voice agent. The to number, this needs to be changed to the Airtable record, which in this case is formula. Oh, in this case, I'm just thinking, do I even need this Airtable module if this basically gives me the information itself? You know what? I don't think you need, if we go back into here, I actually don't think we need to create a search field at all. So you can just go back in this HTTP request. We can just grab the information from the created record. Just do that. So we grab the phone number. That's pretty much the only field we need. Now, something else that's quite important is obviously probably creating a dynamic variable to basically call their name from. So in this case, when we're creating a phone number, we want to add a dynamic variable. So here inside of the HTTP request, Retail LLM dynamic variable, add optional dynamic variables and key value pairs of a string that injects into your Retail LLM response. Basically, this means is dynamic variable. Let's say we want to grab their name and the voice agent can call them by their name, right? Add a new property. We'll just call this name. Does that work? It does. Enter name. In this case, we'll just do Ali, but obviously you'd probably change that. So actually, you need to update our data record to basically account for the dynamic variable, which in this case, we've called name. We want to go back into this HTTP request and just change it. Name, we're going to change this so that it's dynamic. Make the name and then the phone number. We basically just want to grab this phone number. Awesome. Now, I think we need to do the same thing inside of Retail, which is basically create a dynamic variable. So I think the way you do this inside of Retail is use curly bracket to add variables. So let's do that actually. Probably put in the task, greet the customer with their name using curly bracket, and then we'll probably just do name. So hopefully that works. We can actually test this out. So let's basically test this out and see how it works. And fingers crossed, it actually does something. So let's go back into Airtable and basically delete this record. Now, one thing I want to quickly do is I want to create a webhook, because obviously we're making this call to the user, but then we also want to create a webhook that captures the end of call report so that we can use that information to basically determine email, obviously, so that we can send them follow-ups. And of course, if they're actually qualified or not. So we can basically add a webhook, and we're probably just going to do a test webhook. Another thing that I want to do is basically create a filter. So Retail is interesting in the case that it basically has 3 different modes for calling. And I'll quickly show you what I mean by that. Retail AI, what is it? Post-call analysis review. Is this it? No, this isn't it. I'll quickly get to it. Awesome. So just going back into the voice agent prompt, in these settings, if you go to the webhook settings, there's 2 different webhook fields that you can fill out. There's the inbound call webhook URL, which we're not going to use because this is an inbound call agent. And if you don't know what that means, outbound means we are calling the user. Inbound means the user is calling us. Agent level webhook URL, this is what we want to do to basically receive events from Retail. And if we click this Learn More button, we basically get an overview of the webhook and the different event types. In this case, there's 3 different event types that can happen. There's the call started, so the webhook will trigger when the new call begins. There's the call ended, which means the webhook will trigger when the call completes, and it'll basically give us the transcript of the call. And there's also call analyze is basically if you have any post-call analysis, which in this case we don't. This is just from a previous video. In this case, we don't have any post-call analysis that we want to do during the call. We want to do that after the call with better AI models. So in this case, we basically just want to filter for the event types that are call ended. And that's very important. So basically, if value is equal, we don't know what value is yet, so we kind of have to wait. In this case, we'll just add a do nothing operation. And we kind of need to wait until we get a webhook, from retail for the end of call. And the way you do this is quite simple. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pin this just for simplicity's sake, so I don't have to keep filling out the form. But basically what we should do, just double checking. Awesome. Let's run this HTTP request. Fingers crossed this works. Awesome. So one thing I forgot to mention is that inside of Retail AI, or actually inside of N8N, you want to grab the webhook URL. In this case, we're going to be doing a test URL just to make sure it works. And you want to paste it inside of Retail AI. Very important you do this so that obviously Retail AI knows where to send this information to, which in this case is our N8N webhook. So now that that is all set up, and also I think you want to make this a post request. So make sure that's a post request and just double check, make sure that this webhook is correct. So post request, webhook, operation do nothing, filter for call ended, but we don't know what this field is because we actually have to test it. Make sure your workflow is inactive for this test call. And you're probably thinking, well, if I have a published URL here and a test URL here, is that going to conflict? Yes, it will. But once this flow is actually working, we can make both of these production level URLs and leave the flow active, and then it'll work. This is why we pinned the information here. So we basically don't need to fill out this form submission anymore, but we actually put this into production. So let's test this flow out and see if it works. So we're basically going to create a record through Airtable, send a HTTP request, and keep in mind as well, when you test this webhook, you want to test it after the call is started. If you press test workflow and then make the call, it'll trigger for the call started. So just click it when call ended. You'll see what I do inside the video anyway when I make this call. So without further ado, let's actually make a HTTP request. And here's the phone number. So let's call.
Hello, Ali. Thank you for your interest in our insurance.
You heard that it actually said my
I'm
name.
here to help you find
Cool
the best
dynamic
coverage
variable.
for your needs. Could you please tell me what type of insurance you're looking for and what prompted you to seek new quotes?
Yeah, I'm looking for insurance for my car, actually. It's a 2020 Honda Civic.
Thank you for sharing that, Ali. It's great to hear that you are looking for car insurance for your 2020 Honda Civic. To better assist you, could you let me know if you currently have any car insurance coverage and what specific features or benefits you're looking for in a new policy?
Just kind of looking around the market for better rates. I've only had like one car crash in the past.
I appreciate your honesty, Ali. It's always a good idea to explore options for better rates, especially if you have some driving history. Given that you've had one car crash, it's important to find a policy that offers both competitive pricing and the coverage you need. To proceed, could you please provide your email address? Our
Sure.
team will reach out to you shortly to schedule a...
Sure. My
Thank you
email
for your time.
is amoha11033@gmail.com.
Thank you for providing your email, Ali. Our team will reach out to you shortly to schedule an appointment and discuss your car insurance options in detail. Have a great day.
You too. Goodbye. Awesome. And it just ended the call by itself, which was incredible. That was an incredible call with the voice AI appointment setter, about 1.5 minutes. And basically, looks like the webhook worked. So we got a bunch of information after the call has ended. I'm going to pin this so I don't have to do it again. We can get rid of this do operation nothing. And then this filter, very important. This filter, we want to basically go down into obviously the schema. And there's a lot of information, but we're going to filter out this information properly. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But first, we want to go into the body and we want to grab the event. So if the event is call ended, so if the event is call ended and make sure that is equal to call ended, then the filter will basically pass. And yeah, awesome. Item gets transferred. So now what we want to do with this information is we want to basically clean it up. What I mean by this is we want an aggregate function, which combines a field of many items into a single list of items. And we basically just want to grab individual fields. Now we want to grab the call field, which in this case, could you please tell me what term insurance property user? Oh, awesome. This is actually the transcript. Oh, awesome. We actually don't even need to do anything. Retail AI just gives us the transcript. So we're going to create a set field, and we're basically going to call this the transcript. And it's going to be a string, which basically just means it's a bunch of words. We're going to grab this transcript and basically put it here. If we expand this out, this was the entire conversation, which is awesome. The agent said, hello. I said, yeah, I'm looking insurance. Kind of looking at the market. I only had like one question in the past. And then to proceed, email address. So this was my email address. And now what we want to do with this information, we want to use AI to basically read through this transcript and actually accurately grab the email. The problem with this is if you have a look at this line, my email is amoha, 11033@gmail.com. This alone, like you put this inside of like an Airtable or CRM, it's like not parsed properly. We're basically going to use AI to correctly pass this information into a valid email where we can basically automate an email to that user, basically with like a booking form or whatever else you want to do. I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're going to click test step and basically just grab the transcript from this absolute behemoth of a webhook flow. Next, what we want to do with this information is we basically want to create an AI agent. So advanced AI, and this AI agent is going to be a conversational agent tool. Actually, no, it's going to be a tool agent because we're going to be using tools. We're going to define the text field that it's basically going to read from, which is this transcript. Then we want to add a system prompt. So in this case, I've already prepared a system prompt for this video. And what I basically want to do is basically, we don't need this prompt, to be honest. We want this prompt. And I actually got this from a video from Yanis. So shout out to him. But basically, we want to take this prompt, which is basically extract and normalize the email address from the following content, return the email in JSON format, which is basically the email and then the reference email, which is what I showed you previously in that transcript. These emails have been provided via text-to-speech, and something I added here is anytime there is an O in between a group of numbers, assume it is the number O, because no one puts like the letter between a bunch of numbers. It doesn't make sense. Only return JSON as plain text and no markdown. So we're basically going to copy this. And by the way, don't worry, this will be provided to you as well. But we want to basically add our chat model, which in this case is going to be DeepSeek. Now, DeepSeek is quite easy to add your credential. You just need to put in your API key. So I'm going to quickly do that. Awesome. So let me put in my DeepSeek API key. Test connection is successful. And the reason we use DeepSeek is there's a lot of reasons why we would want to use DeepSeek. DeepSeek is an extremely cost-effective but extremely powerful reasoning model that pretty much works all the time for this type of information. Usually in the past, what we've done is we've used AI's OpenAI O1 model, and the O1 model is 28 times more expensive than a DeepSeek chat model. And it basically performs the exact same with reasoning. Of course, in your DeepSeek chat model, make sure you change this to Reasoner. And the Reasoner is really important because what this will do is it'll basically go through the transcript and use logical thinking as to what the email could be. This is way better than like a model. And if you look at the pricing, that's ridiculously cheap. So for the pricing for the DeepSeek Reasoner, it's $0.14 for 1 million tokens, and then $2.19 for the output, which is just incredibly cheap. I think O1 is like $15, which is crazy. So that's why we use DeepSeek, and I'm going to show you how powerful DeepSeek is for this information. Next, we want to add a tool because this is an AI agent. We basically want to add an Airtable module. And we want to go back into Airtable. And I think what we want to do here is we basically want to add an email field. So this actually, yeah, we want to add an email field. And we can basically use the inbuilt email, create a field, and then we're basically going to use the AI to populate that email field into this Airtable. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically create record operation create. We're going to choose our base, which has this loading issue. We can choose our base, which is the AI call analyzer, or whatever you want to call it, from list. Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. Phone number database, and this is all the information. So the only field that we want to fill in is this email field. Now, you might be wondering, well, Ali, we don't actually have the email. How do we do this? Well, N8N has a really cool feature, which basically allows you to some reason, doesn't actually let me, should have the OpenAI field. There we go. Put double curly brackets and then a $sign, and you'll basically be able to come down to the method, and then you'll choose the from AI method. So this method, just to put it simply, is it has two key parameters. It has the name of the field, which in this case is just going to be email. And then we have the description. So place the properly parsed email from the transcripts into this field. Very simple, very straightforward. Now, we need to actually prompt our AI agent to actually read through this email. And I need to grab this and basically copy this. I didn't actually do this before. Basically, in our system message, we want to just put this in, and that should pretty much just do it. Next, we want to add another tool, which is our Gmail tool or Microsoft Outlook. There's a Microsoft Outlook tool, and then you can basically just send an email. In this case, I'm just going to do Gmail because I already have my credentials set up. But basically, what we want to do is we want to send a message to that user. So in this case, we want to do the exact same thing, which is, I can probably just copy this and just grab the same thing. The reason we're doing this, the reason why we're putting this inside an Airtable is you can imagine for your own company CRM, you probably want to store the email. And just in case like something doesn't work in the workflow, in case there's an error, we can actually see what the AI has done to actually pass this email. So we're just going to copy this field, pretty straightforward, to from AI, basically the email, subject, appointment, our team, and this is just going to be a text. And then the message will basically construct of, hey, makes an expression, hey, and then we'll grab the name of the user. So I'm just going to do this. Oh, actually, no. But we want their name. So what I might do is add another field here, which is our Airtable, and then just search for a record. And we want to just search for their phone number, filter by formula. Do we want to filter by formula? I don't know if we want to filter by formula. Actually, no, we do. So this is going to be, I'm trying to think how we do this. Oh yeah, back to this flow up here. And I want to add an Airtable module for update a record. Where is it? Update a record. And the reason I'm doing this is because we want to change the status from uncalled to called when we send that call request. Right? It makes sense logically. Forgot to do this beforehand, so we're just going to do it now. Basically, table, phone number. We want to basically run through this again. Should work. I don't know why it's doing that, but there we go. Awesome. Now I want to deactivate this and just send it because I don't want to make another phone call. But we have to deactivate and then run it. I don't want to make another phone call, so I'm just deactivating it. Basically, we want to go in here. We want to grab the phone number of the user. Column match. We want to match the phone number. So we'll grab the phone number to match. And this basically just makes it so that depending on who we've called, we can go into that Airtable row and correctly configure their information. We want to change the status to called, test the step, and then, okay, I think it actually works because we actually test the previous one. But you can imagine how this works, right? Like you send a test call and then basically, I'd make the call and cancel it. So this is going to call my phone number. I'm just going to cancel it because I don't want to respond to it. I just want this information. So we basically just want the phone number of the user, which in this case was the 2 number. Put this down here, and then we want to change the status to called. Test the step. Awesome. So this has now been updated to called, which is awesome. We can get rid of this field because that was just a previous field. Now what we want to do is we want to search for Airtable records where the column field is called. So if we go back into this one, we actually need to go back into here. We need to do bracket, curly bracket equals this. We want to go status equals called, and then probably just return all. Oh, do you want to return all? Probably just want to return the one that we had, just one. Okay, so in this case, you want to be very careful. You only want to return one record, which was the most recent call. And the way this Airtable works is it goes in descending order. So logically, what we can do is we can go into Airtable. We can only return one, which is just one phone number. But you can also do a sort rule, which is basically descending or ascending order. So sort in ascending order or sort in descending order. So we want to actually sort in, I think, descending order. So if I just create another one, we'll just call this John. I'll just do called and then put this. It should give me the John field instead of the Ali field. So if I test this, invalid request cannot be processed, unknown field name. Okay, that's it. Why is that status called? It is called. Request is invalid and could not be processed by the server. Why is that? If I do this, does that work? No. Huh. Why is this break? Did I just put this wrong? No, I definitely didn't put this wrong. Yeah, I definitely did put this wrong. That's good. Let me come back to this. Oh, wait, no, it's the field. I didn't even put in the field. So we're going to go phone number descending order. There we go. That'll issue. So it should give me John. Okay, it gives me Ali, which means I probably need to do ascending order. So this should give me John. It actually still gave me Ali, which is not great. Like name, descending order. There we go. Now it gives me John. Awesome. So you want to configure this for their name in descending order. So that way you'll always grab the last record that was created, which is probably the most recent phone number that you made. Awesome. Now that we have that, we can do this. And then now we can actually play around with this Gmail node. And then the whole reason we could grab their name. The whole reason I did that was so that we can grab their name and create like a message. Hey, John, thanks for the call. Here is our booking link to discuss further. And you can also just use AI to personalize this based on the transcript, but for this video, I'm just not going to do that. And then you would just insert calendar link, right? Very simple. Now, let's actually test this and see if it works. So logically, what should happen here, and we should probably prompt the agent as well. Next, store this past email inside of the table tool. Next, use this past email to send an email through the... I found that it generally helps if you actually like call the tools by their names. So in this case, it's Airtable 1 and then Gmail. You can obviously name this to whatever else you want. Airtable 1 and then through the Gmail tool. So I think this is a pretty simple prompt. It should work just fine. And let's see how it goes. So let's test it. And Deep Reader does not support function calling. Oh, that's actually really, really bad. I did not even realize that. It's not support function calling. So I can't even use, all right, that's all good. What we can do in this case, easy fix. We can basically just, instead of using tools, we can just use basic, wow, that's really sad actually. I'm quite disappointed by that. Open AI, we basically want to create a basic LLM chain and just do the same thing. So let's basically grab this, store it in a sticky note, and we'll put that there. Probably delete this AI agent. Delete this AI agent. And then model, probably just do this. So this agent will probably just be used to extract email. And the reason I'm using a basic LLM chain instead of an AI agent is because we can't actually use function calling or tools with DeepSeek, which is crazy. So we're just going to use a basic LLM chain because it's much quicker than an AI agent that doesn't even have any tools attached to it. So fingers crossed this works. We grab this prompt, and what I want to do is we only need this prompt, this part of the prompt. Sorry, not that part. We need this part of the prompt, which is basically the original email. Get rid of this. Basically change this to define below. Same thing. We want to grab the transcript. We can change this as well because we added that Airtable. So we want to grab transcript, test this, and then we basically want to put that transcript back into here. Add a prompt. So we want to go with this prompt, test step, and fingers crossed, DeepSeek will do its thing. It may take a little while because it's a reasoning model, but while that's working, we can basically add our Airtable. And I think we wanted to do update a record. Sorry, not create an update. Airtable. We want to update a record. And we basically want to grab our AI call analyzer, phone number database to match to. We're going to match to probably the phone number. The phone number is basically from this Airtable. And we basically just want to put the email. Now, looks like this DeepSeek reasoner works, and it's given us a few details. So it's given us the actual email itself. In fact, what I might do is return the email in JSON format. What I might actually do is just, basically gives us the past email, which is correct. That is my email. And then this is the reference email. Now, what you can do with this is We might honestly change this to just give us the email because that'll just make things way easier. So instead, what I might do is I might just delete this row, which is a reference email, and just give us the email. So what I might do is return the email, return past email. And what I might do is just make sure that all of this is correct. If no email is found, return an empty JSON. Return the JSON as plain text. Return the email as plain text. Let's try this again. And fingers crossed, this will just give us the email because that's literally the thing we're interested in. So while we wait for that, let's add the Gmail node as well. You can see this is pretty much the same thing, except we're not using an AI agent, which makes things 10 times easier. So we're going to our Gmail node or Microsoft Outlook, whatever you want to use. Send a message. So we want to basically send this to the email and the subject. Basically grab the subject there. Text, email type. And then we basically want to go here and probably just add this message. And then we're probably going to need to change that. Let's see what happened. Awesome. So now it just outputs the email, which is correct, which is awesome, right? So this is how you use DeepSeek to basically correctly extract emails from your appointment setters. Because in the past, this stuff wouldn't work, but now with the adoption of new technology, and obviously this technology being way better, more enhanced, we can actually use these models to extract emails properly and allow your sales team to basically book in a call and sell. So now that that's done, we can basically update this Airtable record. Oh, sorry, we actually don't want to update it. We need to add the email. So in this case, we're going to add this text email. And then if we go into here, we basically want to update. We want to update the phone number. No, we want to do name. We want to do name. We want to do phone number. We're going to do phone number. So this basically makes sure that we map the correct row with the correct email. Now, obviously, I've used the same phone number for both of these, so it's not going to work, but I'll just change this phone number. But basically what we're going to do is, assuming that obviously this goes in descending order, your last row is going to be your most recent call. Hence, you want to add your email to that most recent row. And that's basically what this logic is doing, is basically you're matching the column to the phone number. So if we test this, it should add the info to John, which it does. So go back into Airtable, you can see the email was correctly added, which is awesome. And that's basically just to store it for internal use. Next, the Gmail, we want to basically add the to, and we want to add this email field. Next, we basically have, hey John, thanks for booking. And then we can basically send this. Awesome. So that has been sent. And now we can actually go into our email and be like, let's see if we get this email. This may have appeared in my spam. No, it hasn't actually. Did this send correctly? Oh, right. It's my personal email. Sorry. I was checking my business email account. So if I check my personal, look at that. Ali, appointment with our team. Hey, John, thanks for our call. Here is our booking link. And you can get rid of this actually. So if you go back into Gmail and we go to add option, append n8n attribute, just turn that off, send the email again, and then fingers crossed, there we go. So now you've literally just automated your entire lead qualification process. And now the user can pretty much go into their email. Obviously, you probably want to say in the voice AI demo that look out for their emails or send them a link. And then they basically click the link to your own calendar, they schedule an appointment, and you basically sell them on, in this case, insurance. That is going to wrap it up for this video. That is pretty much how you use AI. Use for any form submission that you may have, whether that's Facebook ad form, Google ad form, TikTok ad form. You basically store that information inside a CRM, create a phone call within the span of 10 seconds. So their interest rate is about 400% conversion, which is incredible. Then you update the record, obviously, to make sure that it's a called status or whatever you want to do. Next, it makes the call. You basically create the webhook. In this case, you want to change these to production level and then make the flow active. Then it basically filters for the end of call report, searches for the correct row to basically, add them the email to, stores a transcript, uses DeepSeek to basically extract the email 100% of the time, updates the Airtable record with this email for whatever use you may have, and then sends an email to further book the appointment. This has been a really cool flow. You've obviously seen in this video that I've done a little bit of trial and error, but I really hope you enjoyed this video. Link in the description if you want to work with our team or if you want one of these fully fledged systems built for your business. But without further ado, thank you so much. Subscribe, like, comment if you want me to make more of these types of videos, and I will see you in the next one. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day, and thank you.